Hello everyone, welcome back. Oracle Integration Cloud interview questions. We have already covered question number 1 to 10 in our previous videos, and let us look into question number 11 to 15 in this video. So 11th question. What are the integration styles or types of integration design patterns in OIC? So someone says integration styles and some people say design patterns. Okay, so we have 6 design patterns in OIC. App-driven orchestration, scheduled orchestration, file transfer, basic routing, publish to OIC, and subscribe to OIC. So you can see the screenshot. So this is from OIC. When you are creating integration, when you click on the create integration button, you can see this, we need to choose one of this. App-driven orchestration, scheduled orchestration, file transfer, basic routing, publish to OIC, subscribe to OIC. But from all these 6, we mostly go with app-driven orchestration and scheduled orchestration. Okay, but having idea on all of these 6 design patterns and integration styles is good to know. So let us look into the 12th question. We'll be looking what is app driven and what is scheduled orchestration on our next questions. So when to go for app driven orchestration design pattern in OIC? So let's say we have a requirement to build an integration. So based on the integration requirement only, you can choose the design pattern. So before selecting the design pattern, you should be having the knowledge on the integration implementation. What type of integration that we are going to build and what it is going to do. Okay. So when to go for app-driven orchestration design pattern in OIC? Create an integration that uses an event or a business object to trigger. The orchestration pattern allows you to create from simple to complex integration. Okay. So event or a business object means, let's say, let me give you one example for app-driven orchestration. So you have a requirement saying that you have a Fusion application. In Fusion, let's say whenever the order is created or whenever the order is updated, they want to send the details to Salesforce. In that case, as soon as when the order is created or order is updated, and we will be anyways having some conditions in it, and when all are satisfied, immediately that should be triggered to OIC, and OIC will send the details to Salesforce. Okay, this is not scheduled. Whenever the update is happened in Fusion, immediately that needs to send to Salesforce. Okay, we call this as real-time integration. Okay, so in this case, what we do normally is, so from Fusion we have 2 options. One is we can configure business event in Fusion, and we can configure our OIC integration URL in Fusion so that can send the data to our OIC integration. So in that case also we need to go with app-driven orchestration. And in other cases, we need to go with the Oracle adapter. In that adapter, we can choose order business event. Let's say you are going with a purchase order or you are going with something else. So you can choose business event there. So when you are selecting event and you configure the integration by using an adapter, so that will automatically subscribe to Fusion, and whenever there is an update happen to order in Fusion, that immediately sends the data to OIC. So in that case, for the real-time integrations, for business event configurations, we go for app-driven orchestration design pattern. And also, let's say you have any, you have other OIC integration, internal integration, you want to trigger this integration, that newly created integration from that. So in that case also, you need to go with the app-driven orchestration design pattern. Okay. Simply, you are exporting an API and others can trigger it. Okay. So let me go to 13th question. So when to go for scheduled orchestration design pattern in OIC? Create an integration that uses a schedule to trigger the integration instead of an adapter. See here, instead of an adapter. In app-driven orchestration, I was telling you that we can configure adapter and then we can choose business event there. But here you can see, create an integration that uses a schedule to trigger the integration instead of an adapter. So you can schedule it. So scheduled orchestrations are designed for the use case when we have a requirement for triggering orchestration flow at specific date, time, or day or interval. Simply, when you have a requirement to trigger the integration with some frequency, let's say, you want to trigger the integration for every 10 minutes, and we want to trigger the integration every 1 hour or every day, means, once in a day or once in a week, every Tuesday or every Monday, you want to trigger that, or every month. So these all are frequencies. I mean, at what time we want to trigger, we can schedule it based on the requirement. So when you want to schedule an integration, when you want to trigger integration on some frequency, we need to go with the scheduled orchestration design pattern in OIC. And here also you can build complex integrations, and you can also trigger app-driven orchestrations from scheduled orchestration integrations. Let's say you have scheduled some, you have built a scheduled integration, and you are writing some, integration implement. You are going with implementation, and in that you want to call other OIC integrations or other app-driven integrations. You can do that. You can trigger that. Okay. And question number 14. When to go for file transfer design pattern in OIC? Create an integration to move files across a network. This is simple definition. Create an integration to move files across a network. File transfer design pattern is used for scenarios where we have to manage files from one system to another. The integration with strong requirement for MFT should be designed and built using OIC file transfer. So file transfer we can also do with a schedule orchestration or with app-driven orchestration. There we need to, we can go with that also. But here, when you choose file transfer design pattern, when you have a requirement to move files from one, server to another without doing anything, means, without changing any data inside the file, we can go with this file transfer design pattern. But let's say you have a file and you want to do some changes to the file and then send that file to some other server. In that case, better we go with app-driven or schedule orchestration. 15th question. When to go for basic routing? So basic routing integration is created initially with empty trigger and invoke connections. This design is adopted with the use case when we have a requirement of integrating business entity of one system to another with their mapping data structure for request and response. We can create only single routing expression in basic routing integration. Just remember this, we can create only single routing expression in basic routing integration. In case we have a requirement for creating multiple routing expressions, we should use orchestration design pattern. So let's say, you want to send some data from one application to another without, complex mappings. Just simple mapping, you want to send the details from one system to another, we can go with the basic routing. But when you have complex mappings, and when you have, when you want to use multiple routings, and also when you want to trigger other application for the data enrichments, I mean, when you want to get some, order details or some other details from other applications in the middle of the integration. So these all cannot be done in basic routing. So if you have the requirement like that, better to go with orchestration design pattern. But if you have a simple requirement saying just take the data from here and send it to this API with a simple mapping, then go with a basic routing. Thank you all. We'll continue in the next video, and good luck.